Are you comfortable?
Yes.
You okay there? Get my scarf out of the way so my microphone. Well, like I said, the first thing would be for you to say your name and spell your name.
Edna Mieska, Edna Mieska.
Okay, and your year of birth, you can give me your birthday too.
March 6, 1900.
Oh, my son was March 2nd, 1975.
Oh,
Baby. So this particular, what we're calling here an interview, is really more like a talking between you and I, so I can just gather some information because you've lived throughout most of the century. And we're coming up to that year 2000, you know, everybody thinks that's a big deal. Yeah. Okay, we can just pick it up, right? Yeah. Okay, as I was saying, if you could just tell me where you were born and where you lived throughout your school days, if you went to school.
country school at Amboy, Minnesota.
Where's that?
Amboy, that's south of Mankato.
Oh, okay.
And it was near Willow Creek store, so it was Willow Creek country.
And
Our community was Willow Creek, and there was a little country store.
was there a certain, what's the matter? I'll take this off. And what about your heritage? Were your parents the first over here? Or?
Well, they were born in this country, though, but their parents were from Germany and Wisconsin.
So your heritage is German?
Yeah.
Mostly. Are you 100% German?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, but both of your parents were born in this?
In this country,
here. Okay, so they were here for a while before. Had they settled out in
Well, my dad come from Indiana, and my mother was from near Willow Creek, or Amboy.
How did they meet?
He came over to this country from Wisconsin and came to the area around the Willow Creek area and met her. Worked out as a hired man.
Then how many children did they have?
10.
And what number are you in that?
7.
7.
And I'm the last one living. The only one living.
The last one of the 10.
Mm-hmm.
Were there babies that didn't make it, and
No.
brothers and sisters?
No.
So all of your 10.
They're all.
Your 10 brothers
Yeah.
and sisters.
There were 3 younger than me, but they're all gone.
So, did you ever think you'd live this long?
No.
What was it like to?
Well, when I was 82, I was quite sick then. I was in the hospital. And then my daughter-in-law, Laverne, came down to, Marlon Laverne came down to see me in the hospital, and she said, I think you should get into these apartments up here, close to the hospital. I said, well, I can't look into anything. I'm in the hospital. What can I do? She went ahead and did it. There was a man living in this apartment that was going to get married to another lady in the apartment building, so he was moving out of this apartment, so I could get that one. She took care of it all, rented it, and then we moved into that.
Where were you before that?
In the same town, in Elbow Lake, but in a house.
Okay. And did you have a heart attack or something, or?
No,
Just that?
just plain sick once in a while, but it is my heart that is the problem quite a bit.
Right now you have some
Okay.
dizziness or something. So then, okay, so then that was 82, but then you hit
Yeah.
90.
Well, then I thought, I don't care, move into the apartment. I'm going to live that much longer. I'm 82 years old. Might as well move into an apartment. Here I'm 94, I'm still living there. Same place.
What do you think?
Good thing we went there.
What do you think keeps you going so long?
I don't know, because I've sure had my ups and downs with sickness and in the hospital and out again.
But these
Well,
days,
come out of it again.
what are you doing? What do you do to keep active?
Crochet. Or some kind of handwork.
Yeah, I think Sue mentioned some crocheting that you do. What you do something special for everybody? For
Everybody orders. I don't do anything unless I have orders.
What do they order?
Lots of afghans and curtains and valances for windows, and
You do all that.
And lots of Afghans I've done. Or lace for pillowcases or whatever.
Who taught you how to do that?
My sister-in-law, my oldest brother's wife, she taught me how to do that.
That was when?
That was when I was about 14.
Oh, so you've been doing it a long time.
Yep.
So it must be pretty fast.
Well, I don't know.
Just clicking away there with those needles.
I can crochet pretty fast. At least I made a cover for Bonnie this forenoon now, or just in an hour before I come here, after I knew I was coming here. I made that for her to hang on the stove for a towel hanger. You used to crochet edges on the end of a towel, cut the towel in half and then crochet on one edge and hang it over. Well, then when the towel wears out, you got to throw the whole thing away. Well, this way now they have a rubber ring that belongs on the old-fashioned jar rings. Crochet around the edge of that and make a little handle on it and flop it over and put a button on and stick the towel through this ring.
So you can just take the
when
towel out.
When the towel gets dirty, throw it away and you can keep your ring forever.
Did you invent that?
I did that within 1 hour this forenoon.
Did you invent that idea?
No, they done it from here.
Oh.
Or Laverne brought from Arizona, I think she brought along
Oh, okay.
a sample copy.
How do you get paid for your work? Do people, do you have a certain set price, or do they just...
I usually don't charge. I don't know what to charge, so I say whatever you think it's worth. So I do it. But I've crocheted names that they frame. Their names, you know, their last names or something. And then they frame it and have it hung on the wall. I've done 127 of them.
Oh my gosh. And so they just give you whatever they come up
They
with?
tell me what name they want and I crochet the name.
And then they put a little money in a jar or something?
Nope, they've given, well, $10 is about what I get for that.
Do you keep track of what you receive?
I didn't at first, but then after a while I started keeping track, and it's over 600, pretty close to $700 worth from those that paid me. I never figured out how much those that didn't pay me would have been on top of that.
That's amazing. That's just wonderful that you
So
do
that was quite a project.
Yeah, that is amazing. Well, back to your, like your school days, your early days, 5, 6 years old. Where did you go to school in that one room?
Yeah, near the Willow Creek store. It was about, it could have been close to a mile from our place.
And you walked?
Always walked.
And so what did you wear?
Do what?
What did you wear?
Oh, dresses. We never had slacks in those days. It was all dresses for girls.
What about the winter?
Well, just wore dresses and wool stockings. Long underpants, way down to your ankle.
And the stockings came up over the
top of that. So it was warm. My mother always knit our stockings, wool stockings. She always knit them.
You know, a mile these days would be a long way for a child to think about walking.
I know.
What do you
but
think?
When we went to the other school, we went to the parochial, or the public school, was about a mile away, but the parochial school we went to in the fall until Christmas, and then after Christmas we'd go back to the public school until Easter, and then we'd go back to the other school again. And they would run until July 4th. We have a 4th of July picnic from that school. That was a German school, parochial school.
Did you speak German at the school?
Yep. I was confirmed in German and everything. It's all German then.
Do you remember when the language started shifting? About what years and
Well,
how old
it probably
you were?
was almost getting up to the 30s where they didn't want German in church anymore. They wanted some English and some German. They had to switch. But our children, the oldest ones, they were even given the chance, you want to be confirmed in German or English? They chose English. So you had your choice then. But that's about the one that changed.
What church was that? Was that a...
That was done in southern Minnesota.
Was that a Catholic church or Lutheran church? Or
Lutheran church.
Lutheran church. What about And did you go through 8th grade, or was there?
8th grade.
There was.
That's as far as I went.
What did you do after that?
Stayed home and worked. We lived on a farm with 10 children in the house. There was work for everybody.
What were some of your jobs?
Working in the garden. In the summertime we had garden work, a lot of it. And then of course, sure, housework. And after I got older, I even had to help with 7 brothers. I worked out in the field. Can you imagine that? 3 girls and 7 boys. Fun job for me in the field. And do chores, you know, like chickens, and mostly chickens. I guess the hogs, the men took care of that, cattle and the hogs.
What kind of crops were raised in the fields?
Well, that was corn and grain, oats and barley.
So were you doing that throughout your teenage years?
Yeah,
And then
yeah. I lived in southern Minnesota until 1919. Then my folks moved up to Barrett, to Grant County.
And you went along with them?
Then I went along with them.
Then what happened?
Well, and we farmed up here and did the same thing.
But you must have been married somewhere along the line.
Well, yeah. Well, when I was 18, I started going with my husband. So when I was 19, then I was going to move away from the area. He was just a hired man for farmers. So by Christmas, we moved away in October. In fact, I went up here with 2 of my brothers earlier in the fall to do the plowing. My dad had bought a farm up here near Barrett. And then my 2 brothers had to come up here to do the plowing before it was time for it to freeze up, you know. So then I had to go along, keep house for them too. We lived in a little building that we called a pink house. It was another little, like they might say, a wash house or a summer kitchen.
So there was no indoor plumbing, probably?
No. We didn't even have that until after I was married and after I was moved to town. Until I was 52 before I ever had indoor plumbing.
So before that you had like a hand pump, or you had the well?
For water? Well, there was a motor on the pump, but it was just a well. And that well was, oh man, how far was that from the house? Quite a ways.
To carry
Carry water.
And heated it on a wood stove, or?
Yep, yeah, wood stove. Eventually I got a combination wood and gas. 2 burners gas and the rest was wood. But after I got to town, then I had an electric stove.
What do you like better?
Electric.
What about now? You had outhouses then until you were in town, right?
Yes, always had outhouses. Not in town though. Then we had, after we moved to town, then it was plumbing in the house.
I've always wondered how that was in winter.
But the outhouse, that's another story.
Tell me.
We had bees. We couldn't get rid of the bees in the rafters up there under the roof. They got in there and there was always a swarm of bees. And our outhouse was right below that. There were always bees in the outhouse. And boy, some of Marlon's kids, when they come out there, they didn't want to go to that outhouse. They were afraid the bees was going to come up, sting them. They didn't want to go out there.
Did the bees ever do that?
No. They didn't, but they were scared of them because they were buzzing around in there. But that was what we never had plumbing until we moved to town. Our son got married and we moved off the farm and let him do the farming there, and he lived there. But as soon as they moved on there, I don't think they lived there a year, they got plumbing, indoor plumbing, out there on the farm. So then they had running water.
I know a little bit about that because my parents had a lake place, and the lake place had no indoor plumbing until maybe 25 years ago. They got it. So I knew what an outhouse was, but we had ours made out of old window shutters so the wind blew through. It wasn't, you couldn't see because they were faced the correct way, so you couldn't see in or out, but the breeze went through, so it wasn't so bad, see?
No. Well, that was even worse than ours.
Was there, do you remember much about your wedding time, or how, your outfit for your wedding? What was that?
A
like?
suit. I had a suit with a white blouse.
Where did you buy it, or did you make it, or?
No, I had this suit before I was married, and it was quite new, and I didn't get anything new, except the blouse was new. The suit was the same. But my sister was my attendant. She didn't have a suit, so she got a new suit. That I never got over.
So what color was your suit?
Navy blue.
And hers?
Hers too.
So she got the new one and you wore the old.
I had to wear the old one. I didn't have to, I suppose, but I didn't demand. No, I was satisfied. It's good enough.
A hat? Do you remember?
No hat.
So then you were mostly on the farm working hard.
Always.
Until you were.
Most of the time.
Yeah, until you were.
Until we were old enough to retire and move to town. But then my husband was still shelling corn. He used to go shelling corn for, I suppose, everybody in the county. We had about the only corn sheller that they took around. My son and him went with whoever wanted corn shelling done. Now they don't do that anymore. It's shelled right in the field. But in those days, then it was still shelled, or when it was picked, it was put into a crib until it got dry, and then they'd shell it. And then they'd go out shelling corn. And my husband, after we moved to town, then he'd go out to the farm. He was blind, you might say.
Your husband?
He could get around in those days yet. He could get around by himself. But he couldn't see to do the main. You give him the shovel and put him in the corn crib. Tell him where the pile of corn is, and he could shovel corn. But he couldn't see to do.
What happened to his eyes?
I think the optic nerve died. It must have been, we were married in 22, and this happened in the 30s, when his eyesight went.
So he was a fairly young man.
Well, he was 31 before we got married, so he wasn't that young. He probably was 40. But anyway, after that time, then we had to get our neighbor to do our farming, or get a hired man. So we had tough going.
Yeah.
But he tried to do something to earn a dollar. Worked in the gravel pit and loaded gravel for people that hauled with trucks to gravel roads. It isn't like it is now. They had trucks that went and hauled gravel from the gravel pit, and my husband had a team of horses with a scraper and scraped it onto the kind of where it would screen out the bigger stones. This grate, I guess they called it. Dump it on there. It would take the bigger stones off, and the finer ones went through, and that was elevated into the truck. And then when that was full, they took off, and another truck come. So he did that all day.
And so he was able to see well enough to do
He could see that to load the trucks.
So how did you make it through the Great Depression?
Tough.
What do you remember about that? Do you remember that you had enough food, or did you have enough?
We never starved, except we didn't have meat to eat every day like other people would. You know, we'd eat potatoes and whatever we had, cheaper stuff.
Were you growing your own food at that time?
Well, when we lived on the farm, but for a while after we got married, we farmed to begin with, and then we didn't. And then my husband got a job in the Fairmont Canning Company, southern Minnesota. So then we moved into town. Well, then all we had was a little garden. Then we didn't have our own meat like chickens like we used to raise. One year, my mother sent down a whole cured ham for us. Boy, did we have meat for a while. That was really something. Get something that good. So then we had meat for a while, but I tell you, we didn't starve, but I mean, we didn't eat high-class food.
Well, that was during the Depression years,
Yeah.
right? Did you do trading? Did you barter?
No, I never did that.
And you were kind of helping him just keep your house or wherever you were living, keep everything going.
Yeah.
And he lived to be how old?
He was one day short of 99.
So he lived almost
Yeah,
a whole 100 years almost.
Yeah.
And was he fairly blind when he died?
he was. Then he was, yeah. At least for the last 10 years, he could hardly, I'd have to take his arm wherever we went. I had to take his arm. He couldn't, I had to lead him.
Do you think he was able to see shadows or?
For a while yet, but then towards the end, he couldn't even see shadow. You put your hand in front of him, he couldn't see it.
So did the two of you live in your apartment together?
Mm-hmm.
How many years were you married?
68. 68
Yeah.
years.
What was his name?
Fred.
Fred. Do you ever see him around anymore in your dreams or anything?
Lots of times.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
I've
doing
heard
things. We're doing things together all the time. In the night.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems funny how that comes back.
Yeah, I've
In
heard
your
of that
dreams.
too. If you've been with somebody for that long, that they don't
Yeah.
really, they're still
Things,
with you.
things come back when we used to go dancing. We'd do that a lot. He was a good dancer, and I liked to dance too. So,
Where did you go dancing?
well, in halls mostly, just a town hall,
Was that something that you did throughout your life? Like
Yeah.
Saturday nights or something like that?
or yeah, mostly Saturday nights or whatever. Mostly Saturday nights.
And what kinds of dances did you do?
Waltzes and two-steps and polkas, square dance.
Was he pretty good at polka?
Yeah,
So he was kind of musical,
yeah.
was he? Did you play musical instruments
No.
or did he?
Yeah. Well, I play the piano.
Now, how did you learn how to play the piano?
There was a school teacher when we lived at Amboy there. There was a school teacher that was a piano, or he gave lessons. So he'd come every week and give me a lesson from after school. He lived close to where our church was. It was 4 miles from where my folks lived. So that's where he lived, by that school then. So he came after school then, and every time he'd come, he'd stay for supper. Comes after school, you know, that was supper time.
So did you get the lessons and the boys didn't get the lessons?
I was the only one that got a lesson.
Why was that, do you think?
I don't know. Well, the boys never took lessons. Boys didn't do that years ago. Nobody heard of it. But they weren't even interested. But my sister, she tried. She couldn't do it at all. She was only 2 years younger than me, but she never learned.
So is that something that you kept up throughout your life, your piano playing?
I can't do it anymore now because I haven't had a piano for so many years that since we got married, I haven't had a piano since then. So that's a long time, from 22.
Yeah.
Married in 22.
I wonder if you sat down at a piano now, if you could just play
No,
away.
I can't.
No.
But I had one certain kind of Christmas song that I liked so well. And I wore that sheet out playing it.
What was it?
Come hither, ye children. Ihr Kinderlein kommet. In German, that was what we were then. And I played that piece till it was ragged. So I kind of pieced it together and had copies made of it. So I've given her mother and different ones that could play the piano, gave them copies of it and told them to play it for me now at Christmas time. So Bonnie has played it a couple of times, and in church I've asked the organist in our church, will you play that at Christmas time?
Do they?
She did. I gave her a copy so she could learn it. It was a hard piece. I can't imagine that I ever learned it. That was a hard piece. I managed it.
You must have
I
had
couldn't
a
sit
good
down and do it.
teacher.
Yeah. That was a man teacher.
Was there a certain 10-year period, a certain decade in this past 100 years or so that you remember that stands out in your mind as a maybe even a favorite? Or
Well, I don't know. I can't say what that would be.
how many children did you have?
4.
4.
Our oldest one died in 1970. So she died of cancer.
Well, she did. How old was she when she died?
She was, let's see, she She died in 70. She was born in 24. What would that make her?
50 something, 49.
Anyway, where's a pencil?
Need a pencil. We need a calculator. No. But the other three are still
Yeah,
living,
they're
and they
still.
all have their children. And
Yeah. The
How-
oldest one had 4 children, and the youngest one had 4. And the second daughter had 2 children, and the third daughter had, see, there was 4, 4, and 4, and 2. Like Marlon's, her family, there was 4 there. 3 girls and a boy, and that's what I had, 3 girls and a boy.
And then you have how many grandchildren?
We had 14 grandchildren and 19 great-grandchildren. And 2 great-great.
So the little babies are coming
Mhm.
in too. How was your childbirth? Did you go to a hospital to have your
Oh,
children? Or?
no, nobody did that. In fact, who was it that gave Marlon this book? Like you can buy the year that you were born in, and it gives the records of whatever happened in that year. And this was 1928. It was Bethany.
That was
Oh, Jesse. His younger granddaughter, she picked up this book and gave it to him. And in there are some pages where you're supposed to write down memories, and he gave it to me, and I should write in there what I could remember about him when he was born and stuff. So I wrote that in there, and I don't know if he even ever knew that before.
Tell me about that. What was it like to?
We lived in Austin, Minnesota then. We had 2 girls. Lorma and Phyllis were 2 and 4 years old. And here was Marlon coming. Well, my sister, that was still at home, she was not mentally well enough to leave at home alone. She was just 2 years younger than me, but she had mental problem. So my mother couldn't come down, and my mother had to be at every birth. That was a midwife, worked with a doctor. Well, she couldn't leave Barrett, Minnesota here to come down to Austin and be with me to have a child.
Your mother was a midwife.
She was the midwife. So then we had to come by train, my husband and the 2 girls, come by train here to Barrett to have Marlon be born. So that was about 2 weeks before he was due to come up here. Well, then my husband stayed with my folks here for a couple of days. Well, he had to go back to work in Austin. He worked in the packing plant, Hormel packing plant, shackling hogs, the low-class job. That was a dirty job. Well, anyway, we were there for these 2 weeks till February 2nd. Then I was getting time for him to come. So we called the doctor. It was winter time, February 2nd. Bad roads and bad everything. Here comes the doctor with a horse and sled or cutter I think he had. He had to come in the daytime already because it was going to be, sometime that day or that night or whenever. So he comes out there, and I wasn't going to do anything. Wasn't ready. He wasn't ready to come. So I stood around, and they said, maybe you should go to bed. Maybe that'll make it come. So I went to bed, and the doctor went to bed, laid down on the couch. Wait till after midnight, and then he decides to start coming. So then my mother and everybody had to start getting busy. So I don't remember what hour it was, but he was born before morning. So Marlon, to this day, he says, why didn't you hurry up and do that 1 day sooner? Could have had a month's check more for Social Security. February 2nd, he could have gotten a sooner check, Now he had to wait a whole month before he got his check. To this day, he bawls me out for that.
So your mother was the midwife.
She was the midwife.
And it went okay? And
Sure. But in those days, you had it in the bed. There was no cots or place where they put you with stirrups and everything else. You don't have that. Just plain old bed.
And all of your births worked okay that way?
Yeah, that was okay.
Did you hear stories, or I do, like, oh, the baby didn't make it, or the mother, these stories.
I suppose that could
happened back
happen.
then.
But then that was in the winter time, so my folks didn't take me back to Austin until in April. That's from February. Well, the cars in those days didn't have heaters. It was too cold to take a baby that far. Well, that was over 200 miles. Well, you couldn't go that far with a cold car. So we waited till April, and so my husband was batching it until we come back down to Austin.
So the two little girls and the baby and you stayed with your...
I stayed there, yeah, stayed with my mother.
Well, I have something to tell you. His birthday is February 3rd.
February 3rd? Did your mother, did she hurry up and have it the 3rd, or was it supposed to be the 2nd?
I don't know. I never did get that. It was born at 2:36 in the morning, so it was almost the 2:36.
2:36. Well, I don't remember what the hour was at all. I suppose nowadays they write down the minute and everything else, but we didn't do that.
Yeah, they try. Or, you know, he's...
How old are you then?
46.
How old?
46. But
46.
almost 47. I'll be 47.
Yeah.
The baby.
He's younger than any of my children. Or my youngest child is 62. So I've lived to see all of my children get on Social Security.
Oh my gosh.
That's something.
It is wonderful.
Yeah.
I was going to look through my questions here about this clothing business.
Yeah, when we were children going to school, then we had school clothes that we wore to school with pinafore aprons over the top to protect them. And we wore the same dress to school, you might say, all winter.
Change the pinafore
Yeah,
and wash that.
yeah. But when we got home from school, that dress got off. We put on an older dress. We just wore it to school. But then we'd have a pinafore over the top.
Because you would have had to boil water to wash the clothes, right?
Well, sure.
Yeah.
Sure, they had to heat it in a boiler on the stove. Sure.
And what'd they use for soap?
Homemade soap. I made homemade soap for years. That washes cleaner than anything you can buy.
How do you make
Even
that?
my Phyllis, my daughter, second one, she still likes to use homemade soap. So that washes cleaner than anything you can buy.
What do you use to
What
make
do I
that?
use now?
Well, what do you use to make that homemade soap? What are they?
With lye and old lard, like discarded lard. We'd save all the, like from bacon or sausage or any other grease. Don't matter if it's spoiled or what. Just put it all in a gallon can, then melt that when you make the soap and mix it with lye and other things. There's other things go with it. But that made a good batch of soap.
Yeah. I have a little tiny bit of lye soap that somebody gave me that they made, and it works a wonder around collars. And
Yeah,
so
betcha.
I know.
Yeah, you betcha.
I
You
know.
take that and rub it on there and that washes clean.
Do you remember this idea of corsets? Women wearing those corsets with the lace?
Well, I did too. I didn't have to lace them that like my mother did. I remember my mother wearing a corset like that, and she tried to have a little waistline, you know. So I'd have to stand behind her and pull the strings tight. They were up the back, you know. I'd have to pull them up tight, and then she'd hold her breath in and get them as tight as you could, then tie them so they stay there. I don't see how those women breathed.
I heard that they did do some damage to their inner organs from those corsets.
Well, I don't think it's hurt my mother any. She had 10 children, and they were all born at home. I don't think there's any trouble there. But they sure wanted to have a little waist. But I didn't wear any of those laced up things. I wore them too, but I didn't lace them up that tight. You had to have garters, you know. It's the only way you had garters to hold your stockings up. So you'd have to have a garter belt or something.
Yeah, I kind of remember that too, from the 50s, 1950s.
Yes,
I wanted all that.
sure.
There was a time when women wore hats and gloves when they went
Oh,
out.
yes.
What do you remember about that?
Oh, there was, yeah. Well, that was That must have been way back in the 20s and 30s. Then we wore hats, but then they went out and never had no more hats.
What kind of hats do you remember for yourself? Did you?
Oh, all kinds, different kinds, with brims on and flowers on for the summer, and velvet ones for the winter, beads or feathers and different things on.
Where did you buy your hats?
And they had a millinery store.
So they were handmade, would you say?
Well, I don't think they made all their hats. I think they had them shipped in, but some people made their hats and sold them, but most of them were shipped in. But they had a big, a variety of, just like any store would have, hundreds of hats to pick from.
Yeah,
Try them on till you like one.
You don't see that much anymore.
Not anymore.
They're just, but as I understand it, gloves were important also.
Well, gloves are more important. They were then than now.
It was more like you had to go outside with a hat and a glove
Well,
to a function or.
yeah, then you have to be dressed up, but I haven't. You never go to church without a hat on. In fact, we've got one lady in church now that wears a hat once in a while, and she looks a little out of place, but she's going to wear her hat. It's okay.
What about, let's see, your clothing that you choose now compared to, say, what you chose 50 years ago or 40 years ago? How do you choose your clothing?
We used to have all dresses. We never had slacks. Well, I don't know when it was, how old I was before I started wearing slacks. I must have been over 50 or before I ever got any slack suits. Always wore dresses.
What do you like best?
Slacks.
How do you dress now? Do you dress, where do you,
With
do
slacks.
you just choose your clothes?
With slack suits. To dress up even, but if you really want to dress up, you put a dress on. And I have one or two dresses, but I never wear them anymore.
Why is that?
Not comfortable enough.
So you like to dress for comfort.
The main thing is then you got to wear pantyhose. I don't like to put them on. So I wear knee highs.
You want to be comfortable.
Yeah. Wait till you get my age and you'll take it easy.
How do you support yourself now, since your husband died and so forth? That
You mean the income, or what do you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Social Security check. And then I get some interest from CDs I have in the bank.
Do you find that Social Security is enough for you to live on?
Not alone, it wouldn't be. Well, you just have to back up and don't live so high. You have to live within your means.
Do your children help you
No.
financially?
No.
So all these years you've been able to make it financially?
Yeah, I can't imagine how we ever come from where we were when we were on the farm, and the money we had then and what I have now to spend. I can't ever see how that ever happened, that I have enough money to live on, live with interest and Social Security. But we have no, well, when you're going to the hospital and stuff, we have to have insurance. Couldn't live without insurance anymore, hospitalization. And then Medicare, of course,
Right.
pays for most of it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to, if I had to pay those bills. They've been pretty high sometimes.
Do you remember any particular health problems that stand out that with you or your husband or your children?
Well, my husband was never sick. He hardly ever went to the hospital until close to the end. And the day that or what he died from, he probably had a stroke. He was up and around like every other day, and this one night, he kind of fell out of bed. His whole body didn't fall out. His head was on the bed, but his butt was on the floor. And I get up and I try to wake him up, and I couldn't wake him up. His head stayed on the bed. So I called up my daughter. She lived on a farm out in the country there then, here at Barrett. And I said, you better come in and see what's going on here. I can't wake Dad up. He wasn't dead. He was breathing, but he was just laying stiff, so he had a stroke, I suppose. So then she came in and she said, well, we can't let him lay like that. He's still laying with his head up there. So she put a pillow on the floor and we got him off the bed and laid him on the floor, and then we called the ambulance to take him to the hospital. He lived 1 week till the next, this was on a Sunday morning, he lived till the next Friday. Then he died. Just slept away. He was in a coma all week.
Mm.
Yeah, that was kind of strange. He could have lived for a year or more, you know, being like that, like sometimes they do. But he just slept away. So he really didn't suffer much.
Did they do any life-saving interventions?
No,
You know, or that?
no. I don't believe in that. I hope they don't do that with me. Let me die. If I'm going to die, I want to die. Not just living. They talk about these living wills now, you know, you're supposed to have one of them. But then there's been some talk about that. That isn't the best thing either. So I don't know what's wrong about it, but I don't have one. But I hope they don't have to think that they have to try to keep me alive. At this age, they better let you sleep when you want to sleep. That's right.
Yeah, my parents have living wills, but
They do.
I don't
But
know.
what is it
I
about
don't
it
know
now?
for
They say
sure.
that isn't the best thing either.
I guess sometimes they aren't specific enough that there are still some problems with
They
it,
probably-
and they don't cover everything, and they don't. Some people won't pay attention to it anyway, but they're of the same mind as you are. They don't want any big machines coming in to keep them alive. They
No.
want to die if they want to die.
Well, sure.
That's why they got them, but I don't know exactly what the controversy is about those right now.
Like maybe they think they're letting him die when they could have done some little thing and kept him alive, yet then they don't. So I don't know. Depends on your age, of course, too.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're in your 50s or 60s, that'd be different.
Do you remember any stories about the Indians or Native
No,
Americans
I know
down
nothing
in that
about
part?
the Indians. I can't imagine that there are that many Indians in the world like there are. I didn't think there were that many Indians around. But all these casinos are run by Indians. So there are a lot of Indians around. And they give them so much free stuff.
I thought maybe that you were raised by them down
No,
in the
there were no
southwestern
Indians
Minnesota.
in any community where we lived. There never were any Indians.
Do you have any? Do you remember old healing remedies at all that your mother may have used for sore throats or childbirth or aches and pains, or what did she do when you kids got sick?
Greased us up with something and Vicks and stuff on her chest.
With some wool?
Just a flannel we put on. But we hardly ever didn't call a doctor very often or go to a doctor. You call him on the telephone and tell him how your child feels, and then he'll tell you over the phone what to do.
What did you do with real high fevers?
I don't know.
Maybe you never had them.
I don't know. Never had no trouble that way.
So there was a time, I think it was in the late 20s, when there was some kind of a throat disease going around that people were quinsy. They call it quinsy.
No, we didn't have any of
Yeah.
that. But
My-
in 1918, that was that flu season.
And that's what I'm thinking of, I think.
Maybe that's what you're thinking of.
Yeah.
That's when a lot of people died. That was,
It didn't hit your family though, huh?
no.
What do you think, why did that pass over you and your family?
I don't know. It wasn't in our community that much. It wasn't in that community.
What do
I
you-
suppose if it had been, you know, it would catch from one to the other, and whole community would. But we didn't have it in that community that much.
Did you ever hear of any of your friends or anything, and your relatives or friends about like being healed from an illness? Like some people
By a healer,
that or some kind of
quack doctor.
something like that.
My younger sister, 2 years younger, she was a quack doctor, believer. She would run to a quack doctor wherever she could. She believed in that thoroughly.
What did that do for her? What'd she have done? Or
It didn't help her anyway. But she went to them. If anything was wrong, she went to the quack doctor. Mostly in North Dakota. There were none in Minnesota. And
what did they do? They couldn't give pills out, could they?
no, they just, I don't know what they do for you. I never had anything done with them, so I don't know really what they did, but no medicine or anything, just heal you by touch or feel. And I didn't believe in them myself.
What do you think was the matter with your sister? You said mental problems, or
I
was
don't
it like
know.
what they would call depression now?
That probably is what started it. She got that way soon after I got married. And she started getting real bad. It just seemed like she thought, I got married, now she's going to be home alone, and she had no boyfriends and nothing. She was going to have to live like that. No, I don't know what happened. She really got bad. So she was in the state hospital for a while. Took these shock treatments.
Oh, she was one of those that had the shock
She had
treatments,
shock
huh?
treatments. Yeah, she was in bad shape for. But then after she got older, then she got over it. She got okay. She could take care of herself and everything. Yeah, it was funny. One time when she was home, my mother was outside washing the separator. And she was standing there with the separator bowl. I don't know if you know what any pieces are on a separator, but the bowl part had a handle underneath, and she was ready to hit my mother over the head with it. She's seen her in time, so she didn't do it, but it was not safe to have her around.
Yeah. And then she somehow got over it.
I don't know whatever happened that she sort of just gradually got better again. It was crazy times.
And then she lived to be pretty old, did she? Or
Well, yeah, she was about 75.
wasn't that something? Did she ever marry?
Yeah, she was married after she was 40 years old. She married a man that was quite a bit older than her. He was 60 and she was about 42 or something like that. So he died before she did, though. Then she was alone. And that's when she got this mental problem after that. So that was not good.
How old was your mother when she died?
85?
Oh, so she lived a long time too.
Yeah.
And your
But my dad died, he was only 65. He died of cancer too.
Oh.
He died at home and had this cancer, and that was when my sister, this one now with this quack doctor business, she was trying to doctor my dad with a quack doctor. I wouldn't allow no other doctors in.
Oh.
She was that way, you know, just wouldn't even let my mother in to see him in the bedroom. He was sleeping in the bed, in their bed. And my sister didn't even want my mother to go in there and help whatever had to be done with him. She wanted to handle it herself. But he had cancer and he died of that at home. But that was some awful tough years with that, living with that daughter at home.
Yeah, that's frightening for everybody. Makes everybody nervous.
Yeah, it would be.
What would you give for suggestions to young people?
About what?
Anything. About
About
living.
anything? Think positive. Everybody gripes about me. I think positive. You and your positive thinking. But I think that's best. Don't think negative. Think positive. Maybe it isn't going to work out, but at least hope it will.
How did you learn that, do you think?
I don't know. It's just me.
And what about being active? You're pretty active. You drive, don't you?
Not anymore.
Oh, you
I
don't
gave
drive.
up my car when I got to be over 90 years old. Then when my insurance for the car ran out that fall, I thought, I'm going to give this up before the kids tell me to. I figured a lady 90 years old shouldn't be driving. So I decided myself to quit.
So how do you get around?
I don't have any, I don't miss the car.
Do you walk?
Well, I miss it. No, I ride with, they have senior tickets. And you can hire or get a driver to drive for you, and you pay him so many tickets, whatever he wants. Or some neighbor ladies that drive the car yet and ride with them.
Do you do some walking?
No, I can't walk very far. So either I ride with the neighbors or,
Now, is that your heart that prevents you from walking far, or do you have some arthritis? Or?
well, I run out of breath. Can't walk too far. So it's my heart that bothers.
Do you have very much arthritis? So people say you get
Right
when you-
now, for months, I've had, must be 3 months or more. You know where your sacroiliac joint is? Well, that's what I have pain in. I have to stay under pain pills, and then it's okay.
It's like when you get up out of bed, it hurts, and you stand up. And
It did
yeah.
for a while. It's better now. It's not quite as bad as it has been. It would get so bad I could hardly walk. That pain is way down to my ankle,
Oh yeah.
this whole leg. But if I take pain pills, and then I thought, well, what if you get addicted to that? So I talked to a nurse that used to be working in our hospital there. I said to her, what if I get addicted to it and then it won't work no more? She said, what if you do get addicted to it? Take it anyway if it helps. So I do. If I get addicted to it, take a different kind. But it does help. The pain goes away and you don't feel it, and then you feel pretty good. Otherwise, my health is pretty good, except I get this heart pounding in the night sometimes, and I think, gee, should I call the 911 or what should I call? I wait and it goes away.
Mm.
So maybe sometime it won't.
It goes boom, boom, boom. Knocking away at you.
Yeah.
Huh?
So then I might have to get up and sit in a chair.
Yeah.
It's easier to breathe when you sit up. So, well, heck, I don't care at this age, my gosh. Whenever I die, I'm going to be dead. High time.
Dennis, do you have some questions? Or
I'd be curious, I mean, yes, honest question, what do you think about afterlife and stuff?
he was. I asked him if he had a question for you, and I guess we both would like to know what you think about afterlife, or after you die. Where do you go? What happens?
You know, sometimes I think this way, and then again I think another way, and I just don't know which is going to be the right way, but I suppose we're not supposed to think about that. You're supposed to accept it, what you learn in church, that there is going to be a heaven. You're going to be with a bunch of angels. Have no more aches or pains, and be lots of singing and happy times. So that's the way you should feel.
So
What's going to happen?
some say that it's very peaceful. You know, there are these books out now on people who seem to have died and come back. Have you heard of those? They call them near-death experience. And they see light and they find peace, but then somehow they're told it's not the time for you yet. It's not the end of your life. You have to go back. So they come back to their
Yeah.
body, and then their body feels real limiting to them.
Well, I don't know if that can really be possible. But some people say that they have experienced, and I haven't, so I don't know. I can't say.
But they have said that it does seem peaceful, like you're saying. You know, the
Yeah.
church wants you to believe that
Sure.
heaven and peace.
But now they're starting to say that Jesus' birth and all that, that's all fiction. Well, they've been teaching us since we were kids that Jesus was born at December, at Christmas time. All our life we've heard that. Now they want to say that that's all fiction?
Well, I haven't heard that one.
You haven't? I
No.
have, just recently.
Oh.
that is fiction, and I don't want to believe that. I don't think that's true. There had to be a God that set up this world. It didn't just come here by itself. And that, of course, has been thousands of years ago.
So that's that idea of that power greater than yourself, that there's that life energy
Sure.
that's always around, and
It has
that
to be.
something bigger planned all this.
Sure. You just can't believe it the other way, that it never was, that there wasn't a God and there wasn't a Jesus born, like we've been taught. There was a Jesus born, and he's supposed to be our Savior. So we have to believe that. I don't want to believe any other way.
Who's your favorite angel?
I can't say I have any name for one or anything like that.
Do you have a guardian angel?
No,
A sense of a helper?
no. Maybe some people do, but I've never thought of it that way.
They have this picture of this guardian angel. You know, it's a picture, and this angel's two little kids are walking across a bridge, and the angel's just there protecting them,
So they don't fall in the water.
helping them. You know,
Yeah.
that's what I meant by like a guardian angel.
Uh-huh. Well, I
Kind
can't
of
say
thing.
I've got any feeling like that. But it seems like sometimes, when you get close to an accident somewhere and it doesn't happen, somebody is protecting you.
Have you had one of those?
Well, yeah, it's been close calls. But I can't say that.
Do you remember one? Can you remember one in particular?
Well, not really. I don't know what it would be.
I remember when I was driving down a 2-lane road, and I wasn't right up against this car, but all of a sudden, a trailer full of furniture, an open trailer, unhitched from the car in front of me,
Oh,
and it zoomed across the lanes. There was no car coming toward me, and it landed in the ditch. This all happened, in a split second, and the sofa flew up in the air in front of me across and landed on this side of the road.
uh-huh.
And I drove, right through it because I was driving 65 or something. So
Sure.
it's
it all
like
goes-
that. Then I got through it, and I thought of that same thing you were talking about, like, well,
Well,
I'm still alive, That was a close call.
sure. So you were protected there.
It's one of my close ones. I don't know. Didn't else anything else? Is there anything else that you think that you'd like to tell about your life or about living? You've talked about thinking positively, and you have something that you like to do, and that's the crocheting. That seems important. The other ladies have told me too that they say stay active and have something that you love to do.
That's right. That's the main thing. Keep yourself busy without just sitting and watching TV.
This one lady told me that. She said some people, when they turn 70, they just sit there and they say, I give up. And she says, then they're bored, then there's nothing, then they get sick, and then they don't do anything.
Certainly.
She says she just keeps active. One of the ladies is 80, and she goes to an aerobics class.
Oh,
And they do things, they have a lot of hobbies.
yeah.
And
Well, we have senior dinners 5 days a week.
do you go to all of those?
To as many as I can. I don't have a car now, so I don't always get there, but I go to as many as I can
You visit.
and visit with people, sure.
Do you have a friend that's a longtime friend that's still alive?
Well, I have so many, I don't know which one to pick for as one, but I have a lot of friends that I can fall back on,
One thing my mother was telling me, this was in her late 70s and maybe about 80, so many of her longtime friends have died, were
Yeah.
dying, and so she was left and still, and said, all my
Well,
friends
yeah.
are gone now.
Then they have friends with younger people.
That's what she said.
Yeah. And it does work.
what she said.
When I was confirmed, when I was 14 years old, there were 14 in our class. And they all have all died except the last one, this Elsie Tunn from southern Minnesota. She'd write to me every Christmas, send me a Christmas card. And this year she sent me the church book from the church when they're celebrating their 125th anniversary for the church. She sent me that whole church book. And after that, she was still driving her car, and she was driving out over the Highway 169 down to Vernon Center, drove in front of a truck, killed her. That I never would have found that out except my cousin from southern Minnesota sent me her obituary from the Amboy Herald, the town paper. I'd have wondered why I didn't get a Christmas card this year, and I wouldn't have known what happened. But she told me that she'd been killed in an accident that way. So she was my age. She shouldn't have been driving no more. That's what I thought.
Yeah, you're probably right there. What about, it seems like alcohol is a big problem in our culture, in our society.
It is.
What do you think about that? Was drinking ever a
That's too
problem in your
bad.
life, or were you free from that problem?
Well, I never had any problem drinking. No, I never. I drank maybe a beer or so, but never went to get drunk. Never. But it's too bad that so many people do nowadays and go out and drive on the road and kill people. That's too bad.
Do you think that's gotten worse over the years, the alcohol drinking?
Well, it seems like it. With the younger ones more so. So many young ones are thinking they can handle it and they can't. That's too bad. And it's the same way with smoking. The younger age, a lot of, even girls are smoking so much, and that's too bad.
That's very addictive. Nicotine
is.
and alcohol and the other marijuana.
This granddaughter of mine here, she used to smoke. I don't know how many years she smoked, but she said she quit about 5 years ago. And she used to smoke quite heavy too. I said, how in the world did you quit then? How did you handle it? Just quit. But some people say they get so addicted to it they can't get along without it. Gotta have another one again. But she said she just quit. That's a good thing.
Yeah, it is. Should be very healthy then.
That's for sure. So I don't have many in my family that are smoking. My son her dad used to smoke a lot too, and then the kids when they were little, and he'd be smoking. Quit that, it's going to kill you. Kept telling him. He finally quit.
Well, they're teaching in the schools now, they're teaching the children that that's not a good idea. So then the kids go home and they get on their parents about bad habits.
Well, there are a lot of parents that are not setting good examples. Not only smoking, but living conditions now. Young people go live together before they're married. That I don't believe in. They think they have to learn how to get adjusted to each other or something. That don't help. That don't help.
So you think you need that all that can be learned after marriage,
You learn that afterwards, and you got to learn to give and take. You can't give all the time, and you got to take something too. You got to learn that.
That takes a while.
Forever. Forever. Have you found that out? So don't think it's going to quit.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of operations. This is a question that he had too, but it seems like my age now, the women are kind of coming to terms with the idea that there's breast cancer kind of epidemic going around, and there's a lot of surgery being done to women that doesn't seem to be necessary all the time, like cesareans or uterine removals and hysterectomies and
hysterectomy.
breast
I
removal.
think they're doing some of them that isn't necessary too. I think so.
Have you had surgeries or?
The only thing I've had was gallstones.
Did you have your gallbladder removed?
Hmm.
That's it?
Gallstones.
Yeah. You still have your gallbladder?
I think so, as far as I know.
What
Yeah.
about tonsils?
I had them out years ago, yeah. I was a kid yet. Otherwise I had, and my husband never had any surgery. But he
Yeah.
lost his eyesight, that was way back. We went to a doctor years ago, they didn't know anything what to do for his eyes when the optic nerve was going dead or something. They couldn't do anything, so it just went till he lost his eyesight. So I suppose the optic nerve died.
I think they could put that back together with a laser beam
They do
now.
something now, yeah.
Yeah.
But one thing about him, he never complained that he couldn't see. Never complained about his eyesight. That was funny, you know. Some people would say, they complain about what, you know, their problem. Can't see, or can't hear. But he never complained about it. Made the best of it.
And you too, then, you made the best of
Well,
that,
yeah,
too.
they kept feeling sorry for me because it went on like for 20 years. I had to lead him around by the arm. Wherever we went, they seen us and I'd have to have him on the arm. Oh, what a chore you had. And I never thought it was a chore. It's my duty. I never felt like it was a chore. I felt sorry for him in a way that he couldn't see, so I was glad it wasn't me that couldn't see.
You did the driving then, right?
Sure, I drove all the time.
That's the same with my parents. My dad has been blind for about 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
And my mom has done all the driving.
Well, then he stays at home with her? They live together alone?
Yeah.
Does she have to lead him when he goes out then?
He still is able to get around
He can.
by himself
Well,
with a
for
cane.
years.
Oh, he has a white cane.
Yeah, he always had a white cane too. But he hasn't been able to. I've had to lead him. So then we would go to the mailbox in Elbow Lake. There we'd have about 2 blocks to go to the post office. And then in between there was the senior center where we could go for coffee in the forenoon at 10 o'clock. Go there, sit there and have coffee, and then go over and get the mail. And then after a while, then there were 2 neighbors that he would go with, 2 other men. One neighbor on this side, one neighbor on the other side, and one would come over to him, pick him up, take him over to the next one, and then the 3 of them would go walking up there to another block, you know. Here comes the 3 Musketeers. They call them the 3 Musketeers. But they had to lead my husband then.
Do you have any of your crocheting here in Sue's place?
Well, there might be. I don't know where it is, but I'm sure. I'm sure it wouldn't take long to find a piece.
Because that would be nice to have that, but
Well, I don't know where you
we
should look.
can when after you go, we see her again. We can ask her. We can get
Well,
that
I
separately.
know she's got some, but I wouldn't know where
Yeah.
to find it here. I'm not that acquainted with her house.
Yeah. Do you have anything else that you'd like to say? He has another question here. Oh, what's the most amazing change or changes you've seen in this century?
All the things that they're putting up in the air, all the stuff that they can do, going to the moon and everything else. That is, I can't understand how they can do that, how big this world is up into the sky. Miles and miles and miles up into the sky.
Yeah. And then we've got the telescopes that are way out there now
Yeah.
looking at the other
All
planets.
that's amazing, all that stuff that these human beings can think up these things. Somebody has to be smart enough. Yeah, that's amazing.
Because you've lived through the times when there weren't even very many cars. Cars were just being invented.
No cars.
Airplanes, no airplanes.
No cars. Nobody had cars even until, well, I must have been about 12 when my folks got their first car.
In the airplanes, there was no
Airplanes,
air travel.
There was
much.
no air travel ever. No. Train. There was no cars either, you know. Went by train.
Have you traveled much? Have you?
I've gone since our daughter was married and lived in Florida. Then we flew a few times down there to Florida to visit with her.
Do you remember your first time you flew?
I can kind of remember it, but I've been several times. I flew down there, so it's nice. I like it. Some
Yeah.
people don't like flying, but I do. I think it's fun.
So are they still living down there?
Well,
Are you-
my daughter died, you know, in
Yeah.
about 70,
Yeah.
and then her husband died about 5 years later,
So those were the ones that were in Florida?
In Florida.
Oh, so there's nobody down there now.
except the grandchildren.
Oh, yeah. Do you go visit them?
Not anymore.
Mm.
But the youngest one of my daughters moved up here. Now she lives in Elbow Lake within 2 blocks of me. And I think she kind of, you know, she was about 18 or not quite 18 when her mother died. So I think she kind of uses me as her mother.
Is that okay with you?
Sure, fine, great.
Yeah.
She just moved up here this summer now, in June, with her 11-year-old son. She's leaving her husband,
Oh.
drove up here with her car and pulling a small U-Haul with a few
Oh.
things that she moved up here, without a job, without a place to live. I thought she had guts, but she done it.
She's okay now.
She's getting along okay. She found a job, I think within less than a month. She had a job in a restaurant as a waitress. She's still working there. And I said, you've got to get more income than that. You aren't going to make it this winter. The extra expense for the winter. She got a job in the bank. So now she's working 2 jobs. Now she's a busy gal. But she's young,
And the 11-year-old is
an
there.
11-year-old. She's 41. But the other 3 kids, one lives in South Carolina and the other 2 are around Tampa,
Oh.
Florida.
So what are you going to do the rest of the winter?
Go back to Elbow Lake
Crochet?
and crochet some more. In fact, Bonnie sent along something that I've never done before. And with my eyesight, I said, I don't know if I can see that, but I think I can handle it. It's some kind of handwork. It's a pillow top, either a picture or a pillow top. I'm supposed to finish that embroidery work on it. She never has time. So I'm going to take it along. Maybe I can handle it.
Well, that'll keep you busy for the winter. Well, I think we're ready to finish up. And unless do you have anything else you want to say? Or?
That I can think of.
How was the interview? It was okay, right?
What?
This was all right?
Sure, sure. That's comfortable.